I am Larry Hetcher. This is Psych 302, Computer Applications and Data Analysis. And we're going to take a look at Jamovi Exercise 05001, T-Test for Independent Samples. I'm going to hit the highlights of what you will do in completing this exercise. The investigation. Imagine you're trying to identify the ways that college students who live on campus differ from college students who live off campus. You review the previous research and it has led you to the following hypothesis. College students who live off campus will be older than those who live on campus. To conduct your research, you've developed an instrument called the Undergraduate Activities Questionnaire, the UAQ. You've administered it to over 200 college students. To investigate the preceding hypothesis, you perform an analysis which involves the following two variables measured by the questionnaire. We have V94 age. This is the student's self-reported age in years as measured by item 94 on the questionnaire. This variable will serve as the dependent variable, the criterion variable in the analysis. We have on campus. This is a dichotomous variable that simply codes whether a given participant was living on campus, that is, living in a residence hall, versus living off campus, that is, living in a privately owned house somewhere in town. This dichotomous variable will serve as the predictor variable in the analysis. You'll perform an independent samples t-test in which the dependent variable is V for age and the grouping variable is on campus. We go to page 2 of the exercise handout. Task 1, performing the analysis in Jamovi. You'll now use Jamovi to compute descriptive statistics and request a variety of plots for the preceding dependent variable. In doing this, you'll follow the instructions in my lecture notes, chapter 050, T-Test for Independent Samples, which we will shorten to just lecture notes. Specifically, you'll do the following. Follow the instructions in the section headed Starting Jamovi and Opening the Dataset to begin the process. The dataset you open will be the one that had originally been named Undergrad Activities Data. You should have already downloaded this dataset from campus when completing an earlier exercise, so it should be saved on one of your drives. Requesting descriptive statistics. You'll use the descriptives procedure to request statistics and graphs similar to those that appeared in the lecture notes section headed Requesting Plots and Descriptive Statistics, except obviously you will analyze different variables. Once you open the analysis panel for the descriptives procedure, you have to decide which of your two variables should be moved to the box-headed variables and which variable should be moved to the box-headed split by. Making this decision, remember, you wish to compute descriptive statistics for the variable V94 age, and you wish to report these statistics separately for the two groups under the variable called on campus. In the Descriptives Analysis Options panel, check and uncheck boxes so that only the following statistics are requested. And here you see I have a list of the statistics that I want you to request. I'm on page 3 of the exercise now. Also in the Descriptives Analysis panel, check and uncheck boxes so that only the following plots and plot options are requested. And this is what I want you to request. Important, do add your name to the top of the Jamovi results panel. We have the instructions for doing that here. Requesting the t-test. To investigate your research hypothesis provided earlier in the exercise, you'll perform a t-test. In doing this, follow the instructions in the section of the lecture notes headed Requesting Students Independent Samples t-test. Specifically, once you've opened the Analysis Options panel for the Jamovi Independent Samples t-test, you'll have to think carefully. Which variables should you move into the box-headed dependent variables? Which variables should you move into the box-headed grouping variable? In the same Analysis Options panel for the Independent Samples t-test, check and uncheck boxes until it matches the Analysis Options panel displayed in my lecture notes. I'm at the bottom of page 3. We have a preview of some of the correct Jamovi results. If you perform the statistical analysis correctly, results you obtain should match the results provided below, except your Jamovi document should contain more statistics and more plots than I've displayed below. I've provided just a limited number of statistics and plots, so you have a hint as to whether your analyses are probably correct. When you complete your analyses, you'll have a descriptives table. Check a few of the statistics on your table against mine and make sure they match up. With respect to N, you should have 84 people living off campus and 171 living on campus. Compare this to the results that you have in your output, make sure it matches. When it comes to sample means, the mean score for those living off campus should be 20.56. The mean for those living on campus should be 19.18. Check a few statistics like this and make sure that your stats match my hint stats. Here we have a couple of histograms produced. Make sure that your histograms look like my histograms. Here's the results of the independent samples t-test itself. Compare some of the statistics here to your statistics. Make sure they match up. Once you have your results, you can take multiple choice quiz. At the same time that I assign the exercise, I'll also publish a related multiple choice quiz in Canvas. This section provides a study guide that should help you prepare for that quiz. Note that some of the following items ask the same question, just using different words. Also note that some of the following questions deal with the issue of determining whether the assumptions underlying this statistical procedure are satisfied. Other questions deal with the test of statistical significance, specifically the independent samples t-test. You should go ahead and answer the questions dealing with the test of statistical significance, regardless of whether the assumptions underlying the test have been satisfied. In other words, those questions about statistical significance are not trick questions. Kinds of questions that you should be able to answer are things like, for the variable V94 age, how many students were living off campus? How many were living on campus? For example, based on the frequency histograms that you created for V94 age, is the distribution of scores for the students that live off campus symmetrical, negatively skewed, or positively skewed? What about the students that are living on campus? You should be able to answer questions like, according to your table headed independent samples t-test, what is your obtained t-statistic? What's the obtained probability value, that is p-value, associated with the t-statistic? Assuming you set criteria, the alpha criterion of 0.05, will you reject the null hypothesis? These are the kinds of questions you should be able to answer before you open up that multiple choice quiz and take it. Scrolling down to page 7 and the top of page 7. Task 3, uploading your Jamovi file in Canvas Assignments. You will upload the Jamovi file that you just created in Canvas Assignments. As you've heard me say before, it's a good idea to complete the multiple choice quiz described above before you upload this Jamovi file, because completing that quiz might alert you to possible errors in your Jamovi analysis. And this is quick description of Jamovi Exercise 05001 t-test for independent samples.